9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. 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 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Roger, Tower.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It is Sunday, September 29th, 2024. I'm Doug, and this is Deb. How's it going?
Going good.
How was your week?
It's okay.
Yeah?
Just leave it.
We're not going to talk. I'm not allowed to talk about the bee sting in the river.
Go to the book.
Okay, so we're talking about Stranger at the Pentagon. It's about Val Thor, who came in from Venus, and he is... it was written by Frank Stranges, and in 1967. So this is our second installment, so I won't do like other podcasts do and take half the podcast to recap what was said or whatever. So we're going to just kick it off. Episode 2, Stranger at the Pentagon.
Okay. He told me that his purpose in coming was to help mankind return to the Lord. Well, somebody has to. He spoke in positive terms, always with a smile on his face. He said that man was further away from God than ever before, but there was still a good chance if man looks in the right place.
I should mention that this is presented as a true story. I mean, it seems like a science fiction story, but it's actually presented as true. So we're gonna approach it like that. He's a theologist. Mm-hmm. So there's some religious undertones here, but it is a pretty good story. He told me he had been here. His fingerprints intrigued me, as I had been involved as a private investigator for quite some time, and even working at times on loan to some of the government agencies. I had learned the science of fingerprints with the impression of the lines and the whorls on the inner surface of the last joint of each finger on the human hand.
Those are whorls.
Oh, is that whorls? Whorls?
I learned my whorls.
Whorls? Was it a whorl?
I learned to read fingerprints back in the 80s.
Did you really?
Yeah. I worked for the Department of Justice in the fingerprint program.
That's wild. I didn't know that about you.
I was a limited seasonal employee. Just spent 9 months working in the fingerprint section.
So everybody has different fingerprints.
You have loops and whorls, and every one is different.
Every single one is different.
And they measure one is round and one is you got your round things, and then you got your other, the shapes that are down here, the loops and the whorls.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
DOJ information for you guys out there.
He told me that all Earth people were thusly marked since the fall of Adam in the Garden of Eden, during the very dawn of civilization as we know it today. He began to prepare me for the road which lie ahead. It would not be an easy one. There would be adversities, organized attempts to both discourage and discredit me. But the rewards have proven to outweigh these trials, which continue even to this day. Not to this day.
Not to this day. Well, to this day being 1967, things have progressed even more. We discussed the merits of Jesus Christ, how he gave his life freely so that man could enjoy the benefits of eternal life. I questioned him about a Bible on Venus, and he assured me that a personal, unbroken fellowship with the author did not necessitate the printing of a book.
That's deep.
So they don't even need their own book.
They don't need a Bible. They're just thinking it.
They live it.
He found it amusing that many theologians attempt to discredit both Jesus Christ and the Bible. The very God many have said is dead continues to lavish them with all good things. Perhaps they will in time permit the spark of divine light to again illuminate their troubled hearts.
Well,
He's very poetic.
It's fitting we're doing this on a Sunday, I guess, this time.
Sure.
Wow. in answer to my question of what he thoughts of Jesus Christ, he said, "I know that Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega of yours and everyone else's faith. He today has assumed his rightful position as the ruler of the universe and is preparing a place and a time for all those who are called by his name to ascend far above the clouds, to where his power and authority shall never be disputed."
Wow. I
See, I cleaned it up now, so it's going to be easier.
These are hard things to say.
It's Sunday, dude.
I believe that Jesus Christ is the wonder of wonders. I feel like I should have some snakes in my hands. And changes not. No, not forever and forever. As he spoke these words, my own heart burned within me and tears filled my eyes. He turned to the window and said, "Frank, it will not be long. Contend for the faith and you will never miss the mark."
Hallelujah. Give me a hallelujah.
My snakes are going to bite me.
I asked him if there is life on other planets. His reply was, well, he came from Venus, I assumed. "There is life on many other planets of which people on Earth know nothing. There are more solar systems for which man has not even given God credit. There are many beings there that have never transgressed the perfect laws of God."
Wow, so we got saints and crap, huh?
Yeah, not the Hubble telescope, the new James Webb telescope has found 6 planets they found that seem to have artificial light on them. Mm-hmm. Not life, but light.
Somebody left the porch light on?
Well, yeah, they're not. I don't think all of them have certain. We all assume they surround the sun, but they're not. Mm-hmm. They're able to apparently sustain life, and wow. So I get the CIA is probably asking them to retask and look into this, see what's going on. And we're also supposed to have a planet that's speeding toward us, directly toward us. Did you hear about that?
I heard that. We're supposed to be okay though.
Oh yeah, it's going to miss us, or is it just going to stop?
Tina Makua this morning said we'll be okay.
Oh no, was she talking about that or that asteroid that's orbiting us?
Oh, I don't know. I just heard something hurtling and.
Yeah, there's an asteroid that's come in, and it's weird because it's hurtling. It's way the hell out there. I don't know if it's millions of miles. It's way out there, but it's orbiting Earth, and then it said it's going to orbit the moon. I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. It doesn't even sound like anything that's
it's weird.
Natural.
Yeah, I only half listen because I'm doing my Wordle at the same time.
You're not listening to the things that are pertinent to life.
I've got things to do. Man does not possess the right to condemn the whole of God's creation because he himself has broken the perfect laws of God through disobedience. I asked him what he would do if the military prevented him from leaving on the appointed day.
He simply stated, "Frank, do you remember one day after Jesus arose from the dead? He had gone in search of several of his followers. They closed themselves in a locked room, and suddenly they saw Jesus standing at the very midst of them. He then smiled and looked at me as if to imply, need I say more?
Yeah.
Need I say more?
More.
Give me a need I say more.
Say more.
Okay. You're up.
You don't be all vague on me. I want some facts. As I turned to leave the room, he said simply, "Please keep your faith and leave the same way that you came in, through the door. Yeah, continue to seek the first kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will in time be added to you."
World conditions were not growing any better, it sounds like today. Nothing ever changes, Dave. Have you ever noticed that? It's always
I bet there was trouble in the Mideast.
That's right, trouble in the Mideast. Much international pressure was being brought to bear upon the administration. They fought diligently and enforced rigid regulations with stiff penalties for revealing Val's presence.
Even a major newscaster who had inadvertently learned of his visit through one of his paid informants was silenced by none other than the Central Intelligence Agency.
None other.
Which has consistently disclaimed all knowledge concerning UFOs. Meanwhile, they maintained secret files that could actually prove the existence of intelligent life in the universe beyond all doubt.
Shocker, it's still that way today, although it's being disclosed. The CIA discloses nothing. There's like, you hear nothing about what the CIA knows or doesn't know. The morning of March 15th, 1960 saw Val meeting with Nancy Warren, you know her, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Who would continue to work inside the Pentagon and be one of his contacts in the Washington, D.C. area. She would continue communications with others who would become part of Earth's contacts.
Somebody's walking by our
Yeah,
house.
they're walking a dog. So our dog's barking.
There are still to this day many adversaries to human freedom.
I blocked it off so Max can't come in here.
You mean these parasites, huh? That seems
Oh,
weird,
wow.
have embedded themselves in all phases of human society and will never be exposed except by extraterrestrial intervention. There are confused individuals who have perfected a saucer-type aircraft. Some of these are the result of an attempt by some to institute a master race.
Oh, not the
Back to
master
that,
race. Your race. Your German.
Oh,
Your German
I
heritage.
need to oil my chair.
Oh, is your chair squeaky?
I gotta quit. I gotta click.
Remnants of this group still exist. These craft which they designed are still seen from time to time in areas of South America where some of those involved in the original plans still reside. I think we're kind of talking about the Nazis
In Argentina?
in Argentina. Is that South America? Yeah, it is.
These should not be confused with the spacecraft originating from other worlds or those coming from the interior of this planet. Oh, we got...
Well, there's, you can see rivets and stuff on them. You know, you can tell that they're kind of cobbled together.
Nor should the occupants of craft originating from other worlds be confused with those evil messengers who did not originate from Earth but were cast into it after the first war ever recorded. War.
They are in league with earthly low grades who have condemned themselves because of their own choices.
Damn. The spaceman departs. On March 16th, Val dematerialized and departed from this phase of his earthly mission. His next stop was the outskirts of Alexandria, Virginia, where his ship and his crew awaited his arrival, hidden by a wooded area.
That would be the Pentagon. We have a lot of hits from the Pentagon. I think they're watching.
Yeah.
It was, it was no problem for him to reassemble the atoms of his body inside his ship. It's just like Star Trek. As his craft rose slowly, a number of people stopped and pointed excitedly in his direction.
Oh, look.
Others stood motionless, transfixed by the sight which they beheld.
He felt such a tremendous feeling of love for all of them. There was no panic in them, just curiosity and a strong desire to know more.
Then, as the U.S. Air Force jets were scrambled, and with the force field now in full use, the planes darted past the ship, unable to see them now. Even ground radar lost them on their equipment.
They're coming back now. We do live on a dead-end street, so everything happens twice. Confusion once again reigned. On the way back to Victor 1, he meditated on his home planet. The low, heavy, colorful clouds, the even temperatures, the perfectly diffused sunlight that made shadows almost non-existent, the lushness of the rich green grass surrounding his home. Wow. No drought resistant.
Victor 1. Well, cool name for a ship. He was informed of several Earth people with whom he would maintain contact for a long time into the future. Strangely enough, those who knew of his presence, yet who claimed disbelief, were those who feared the most. Others figured they should have been the ones contacted and not those who were. I mean, I should have been the one.
It should have been me.
Oh, yeah, you should have been the one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a great diplomat. Upon returning to his home planet, he advised the Council of Central Control, the COCC, of the results of his Earth visit,
CCC.
including the failure of the leaders of the United States to take him up on his offer of advice and assistance to the human family.
We don't want to listen to anybody else. We know more than anyone. He was given the following instructions to mingle. Well, who's he answer to? Anyway.
His people.
To mingle with and become as Earth people.
I think it's the COCC or something.
The COCC stock, is that his people?
Yeah.
His government above their We the
That's right.
People government, We the Venusian government.
His leaders.
To work and labor in Earth enterprises. to help those who encounter possible threat or danger while striving for world peace, to give them advice and guidance, to entrust with superior knowledge those who have proven themselves, divulge the essence of their mission to the collective national leaders of Earth only when the time is right, Deb.
As of this writing, he continues with his mission, at the same time assisting in preventing our, quote, civilization. Nice.
Like your
Yeah.
civilization.
Yeah.
That's what you call it.
Remember when teachers would yell at you, people, and I use that term loosely. And always, so many teachers that that was such an insult. Preventing our civilization from being the cause of orbital chaos by the destruction of our planet.
Having left the Pentagon with energy, enthusiasm, and more questions, I looked forward to the next meeting with this unusual visitor for another planet. It would be from another planet. It would be approximately 1 year later before I would hear his voice and see his face again.
During that period of time, I had been questioned by the FBI regarding my strange adventure of entering the Pentagon. In fact, they met me at my flight into New York upon my return from Washington, D.C. meetings I had been conducting.
I was taken to the FBI office,
no.
where I was interrogated for nearly 3 hours. I myself could hardly believe the experience I had just had, let alone attempting to convince government intelligence officers the same.
They finally gave me a polygraph test and I was allowed to leave.
Those don't really work anyway.
Riding, well, crazy people can probably pass them pretty easily because they believe what they're...
So it really doesn't work.
Riding the subway to my parents' home that afternoon, I had time to ponder the events of the previous days. I continued to wonder exactly what Val had meant when he said to me the words, "When the time is right."
I still had no idea when or if I would ever meet him again. Meanwhile, I tried to convince my family that I was still sane.
Good luck with that. It wasn't until nearly 1 year later that I was driving in Beverly Hills, California, when Val suddenly appeared in the back seat of my car. Do not.
Bam!
Don't even. That's why I don't have a back seat. To say I was startled.
The dog seat.
Yeah, see, anybody laying back there, I'm really gonna freak out. To say I was startled would be quite an understatement.
Hey, how's it going?
God! I stopped the car, and he got into the passenger seat in front, and our second meeting began.
Shotgun. Hello, Frank. How are you? He said again.
Scared shitless.
I
How are you?
was right back at the Pentagon, wondering what would happen next. His warm smile and his friendly manner at once set me at ease, and he continued the conversation by asking me questions about my work and my family. Hey, how's it going? How's the wife? How's the kids?
They think I'm crazy.
What have you been up to? Yeah, they think I'm nuts.
I've been committed 3 times. How are you?
It's your fault.
All of my family roll their eyes every time I speak. Meetings such as this would continue for the next several years. I would be driving along, and there he would be, standing on a street corner, crossing the street in front of my car.
Doesn't that remind you of somebody? Did you have a sign? John 3, what is that?
John 3:16.
John 3, but I wonder if he had long hair. You know, he didn't have long hair. He looks like we had showed his pictures in the previous episode. He looks like a movie star. Yeah. Surprisingly, these meetings were more of the get acquainted type, as opposed to what? My getting acquainted with him, of course. As the years went on, he began to confide certain information to me regarding some of their activities on this planet. Oh no, now certain activities. The family's really going to think Island. Is he the Epstein Island guy? Yeah, he looks like it. He looks like one of those guys. He informed me that they were in the process of establishing what he called communication bases in private residences. Oh, that's nice. From city to city in major areas around the globe, individuals of high character and commitment had been contacted, and their assistance had been enlisted to accomplish this goal. I wasn't contacted. Of course, I was only one. Today, some of these areas include Reno, Nevada, San Diego, California, Geneva, Switzerland, and even Los Angeles, California. In these homes, you will find communication equipment unlike any you can scarcely imagine, Deb. Well, it's probably like our house, freaking computers everywhere. You're in the 21st century. There is a holographic communicator which operates in the middle of the room.
All you have to do is sit in a chair located along the perimeter, and suddenly you are seeing the physical image of the one to whom you are speaking.
We need one of those.
Howie Mandel has one.
But he has to, does he like wipe it off between uses?
Probably, but he really uses it to do public appearances.
Really?
He's here and he's projecting his image
Is it
over
a
there.
holographic? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got this holographic thing in his studios in
Because
LA.
he doesn't like touching people.
Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, it's pretty cool. A lot of, yeah. Everybody who goes to his podcast, he's got holograms. So yeah, he will appear in places as a hologram. I know.
So you could just pop in right here.
Yeah. Perhaps this is what is meant by personal contact. When I was a kid, they always told us that was the future of television, that we were going to see like the figures in the room. I was always told that.
Right now they do have a technology where it looks very similar to that, the television. You can, it's got I think it's the Apple glasses.
Like but they always said that, instead of looking at a box, you were going to be looking at
you're just going to be there like you're in the movie.
Like Brad Pitt and George Clooney would have been there, with the dead body and stuff that we were watching last night in your living room.
Right, my living room.
But it still hasn't happened.
So you could actually you could walk into
You just walk right through them because they're a holograph.
The first time I saw this device in use at my home in the Los Angeles area, I could hardly believe my eyes. Actually, I went up to the image and ran my hand through it. It looked so true to life, as if the person were actually standing right in front of me.
Doing that.
Don't do that.
There it is. That person got quite a laugh out of my bold, unusual actions. In addition to this holographic device, there is other equipment with which those space visitors can communicate with other of their ships that are located on and around Earth, including the Starship, which is their home base and orbits above this planet.
You got the mothership.
Yep.
In order to blend with others on this planet, they use public transportation.
Not
and a bus.
Not in this town, they don't.
Bus. They weren't in Sacramento.
Yeah.
To move about from city to city. For the most part, this would be flying by commercial airlines. It is amazing to watch the faces and reactions of people when these angelic beings come into the presence of Earthlings.
Yeah, the stuff that happens on planes these days must really make them happy.
They get a travel restriction.
Some will feel a strange sensation throughout their bodies. Some will giggle and not know why. Some will become very emotional. Perhaps tears will well up in their eyes. Others still will be totally unaware that there is someone present who is not of this world. That would be me. I'm oblivious.
I don't care.
I got my AirPods in.
I don't care.
I don't know.
Oh, look, it's a gray alien. I don't care. Yeah, Doug told me they were real, and here they are.
Here they are, but I've got things to do.
But I got things to do. I've got to scrub the kitchen floor. I've got to take the garbage out.
I got to do my Wordle or...
When they are working on a particular city, a car is provided for them by their host to the city. Oh, they get a driver.
That's nice.
There are others who contribute of their good fortune to ensure that all needs of Val and any of his crew are met in the process of appearing as normal as possible as they go about their work on the planet. So they're getting chauffeured all over the place.
That's nice, or at least loaned a car.
Yeah, and a driver, because they probably haven't had driver's education. They can fly a spaceship, but driving a car, as we saw yesterday, can be very...
Driving a car is a challenge, isn't it?
Some people, especially red trucks. Red trucks seem to have
it's like chaos.
We almost got taken out. We almost got taken out on the freeway yesterday by a red pickup truck.
While they have the capability to materialize anything that they wish, this action would obviously draw unnecessary attention to them and thereby defeat their purpose.
On rare occasions, when the need arises, they'll use one of their smaller transport ships, such as the one which Val used to land in Alexandria, Virginia, where the Pentagon is. Most times, this is at night, and when time is of the essence.
It is chaos in our front yard right now.
Yeah, there's a party. They should keep the party in their house. Huh?
Time continued to pass, and as I became more acquainted with Val and others, he began to prepare me for yet another fantastic experience, which would shortly take place, an experience I will never forget as long as I live.
What the hell's going on out there?
Go.
A knock at the door, a special delivery letter, an invitation to be a guest speaker at a UFO convention in West Germany. This was to begin a chapter in my life that was designed by certain dark forces to remove me from circulation permanently. Did you find out what's going on
The
out there?
people that have parked in front of our house are leaving, but not until they spend 20 minutes
We gotta
visiting.
say your goodbyes.
Well,
Maybe they're from out of town,
they heard the dog barking,
so they decided to stay there.
so they're going to stay there while he barks. And the dogs across the street don't like it either. The members of our party made their way to New York's Kennedy Airport in November 1967. After our flight from Los Angeles, we had several hours before leaving for Frankfurt. I took time to phone my parents who resided in New York at the time. Maybe I should go turn on the sprinklers.
Wow.
I know.
Many thoughts were going through our minds as we discussed our itinerary. You know, that would work okay if it weren't for the fact that you actually had to go out
I know.
and do it right in front of them. If we could do it from, if it had the automation like the backyard, we could probably get away with it. But I don't want you to just watch it.
Look at me.
Guess what? I'm turning the water on your car.
It's automated, trust me.
We had been invited to West Germany, Finland, Sweden, and England on this trip. Well, as world travelers.
To our great surprise, when we boarded the plane, our seats had been given to a woman who was traveling with 3 children and required the bulkhead seats, which had previously been assigned to us. We followed the steward as he led us to the first class
That
seating.
never happens with us.
I know.
Oh, we'd like to upgrade. I've never been upgraded.
I have
randomly.
once. Just once.
Did you get to go to first class?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was only here to Vegas, so it wasn't.
Also, my first class adventure that we did, it wasn't your first time on first class?
Florida, no, I got to go to Vegas in first class.
Oh, wow.
Florida was a much longer trip, so that was much nicer
You're like
than
in that
first
pod.
class. That was nice. That's a way to travel.
With a smile, he said, I hope that you have a pleasant trip. With that, he winked and carried on with his own business. The flight had experienced some delay in departing from Kennedy Airport, but our flight to Germany was uneventful, and we landed in the cool overcast. How's Julie's trip going?
They landed yesterday in Rome, and
So it was nonstop from LA?
probably, I didn't ask,
Oh.
but I'm assuming, but I don't know. She might have flown to New York and then to Rome. I don't know. I didn't ask.
Did you tell her to look out the window for UFOs?
I'm sure she did. She's a good sleeper on planes because she travels
That's
so
not
much.
helping us.
Evidently, we had missed the party who was to meet us in Frankfurt because of our delay. It was almost comical to call someone on the telephone because the coin rang up in the middle of our conversation at least 3 times, and I found myself talking into a dead phone. However, we finally did make a good connection and were instructed to proceed to Mainz by taxi. So, anybody who's young and doesn't know that, payphones only give you a couple minutes to talk, and then please insert more coins to continue.
25 cents to me.
Yep.
They don't even understand the concept of a rotary phone. Then a push button phone. Our driver's English was limited to 3 expressions: yes, no, and 40 marks.
Oh my God.
A comedy, to be sure. At last we arrived in Mainz. And the taxi wandered through several narrow yet interesting streets, which are typical in most European communities. So they went like the long way around town, so you got a bigger fare.
That's right. That's what cabs do, right? He finally came to
Seen this 3 times.
He finally came to a stop in front of Mainzerhof Hotel, took our luggage and deposited it in the lobby, and delivered us safe and sound to the German delegation, who assisted us in registering at the front desk.
I personally anticipated a very wonderful convention, not realizing that this trip could have cost me my life. Herr Karl Veit, the convention host and dear friend, greeted us warmly as we entered the dining room on the top floor of the hotel.
Ooh, fancy. The windows overlooked the beautiful Rhine River. A number of boats floated by, reflecting the sun of that beautiful but chilly afternoon. Others, including Professor Hermann Oberth, known as the father of rocketry, and Coleman von Kavitsky. I get the name. Why do I always get the names?
Because
Who had-
you're German. You
Who
should
had publicly challenged the Pentagon on many occasions on UFOs, stood up at the table and made us feel welcome. You're Mr. Veit.
I'm Mr.
Up.
Veit.
Mr. Veit ordered dinner.
Where am I?
Moving.
Okay.
Down.
Okay. Mr. Veit ordered dinner for all of us as we sat down to enjoy
No, stop it.
the festive occasion.
Stop
It was quite impossible to order even a simple glass of water with our meals in any country during our trip unless we called it by name.
Well, duh.
Don't you have to do that anywhere?
Yeah.
I want water.
Yeah, you don't just say water. In German, it has a name.
Wasser. In any country during our trip, unless we call. Okay, so consequently, this was the first phrase we learned in each country. What?
So
Water.
Water.
Water. I need water.
You know what?
Water. I need a screwdriver.
No.
Orange juice, vodka.
We were visiting these countries not to involve ourselves in any political discussions, but to share our findings about unidentified flying objects and the possibility of life as we know it existing in the mass universe. We got confused. I skipped mine and did yours.
Wow.
I
The
know.
only place this was not necessary was in England. At least they understood what we meant.
Yeah.
Although when you visit an English-speaking countries after several other foreign language countries, you almost feel as though you don't know your own language anymore. It was quite strange.
We were cautioned not to participate in any political altercations. The convention hall was within walking distance from the hotel, and so the first morning, most of us walked through the brisk, cool air, glad we had brought warm clothing. The streets were exceedingly clean, and the people very warm and friendly. That sounded German.
The members of the press met us at the hall, and following a brief session of questions and picture taking, we met other members, Mr. Veit's staff, along with many other people who expressed their joy in meeting in all of us.
The atmosphere was charged with excitement and expectancy. Flowers decorated the hall along with the flags of all nations. Many of the speakers had already arrived and were huddled here and there, answering the questions of very curious people.
I'm glad you figured that out, because when I read this, I'm like, flower, what do they mean? There's supposed to be an S, they put some weird symbol there. And you picked it up immediately. You're so smart.
I'm very smart.
As the convention was officially opened by Mr. Veit, the speakers were introduced. I should have gave you this section.
Yeah, I know.
They included Coleman von Kavitsky, Professor Herman Oberth, Dr. Wilk, Martin J.V. Jacobi, Professor Alfred Nahan, Karl L. Veit Effender, Veit Effender, Friedrich Hummel, D. Grasso, W. Lozinski Fillet, Roberto Pinotti, what's that? I don't know. Eric Halid, Dr. Kurt Kaufman, Walter Orr, these names probably mean something to
Somebody, not me.
Frau Louise Eschig, D.F. Ross, Professor G. Macaluso, we're almost done, folks. Edward Knorr, Eric von Daniken, which is the only name I know, and myself.
I was scheduled to appear twice. Once to present a UFO lecture and again to present our UFO documentary film, Phenomena 7.7. The film was scheduled to be shown on the evening of November 5th at 1600 hours.
Have you seen that film?
I have not. Have you?
No.
I've never heard of it.
I never heard of it either. Maybe we're going to look it up.
Yeah.
Prior to that time, I was called to be interviewed by two men from a large Italian newspaper type magazine. One said he was a reporter and the other a photographer. We sat at a small table in the dining room, during which time we had a light lunch.
Most of their questions were aimed at learning the full facts regarding my contact with Val Thor. They said they had read my books, My Friend from Beyond Earth, Flying Saucerama, and Stranger and Stranger at the Pentagon.
With their tape recorder going, they questioned me about many details concerning Val as I could give them. I gave them a detailed account leading up to my meeting with Val. They kept asking me over and over, where is he now? They want to find him.
I responded with the same answer each time. Backseat of my car.
Backseat of my car.
And occasionally dipped my spoon.
Sometimes on the street corner.
Dipped my spoon into my bowl of tomato soup. Then a young man tapped me on the shoulder and informed me that there was a long distance call for me from Finland. I excused myself from the table and proceeded to take the call.
It was from Reverend Leo Miller, one of the sponsoring pastors of the Full Gospel Businessmen's Association, who along with the Methodist Church sponsored us at the University of Helsinki. Reverend Miller called to inquire as to what time we were expecting to arrive at Helsinki. Following the phone conversations, I returned to the table only to learn that the two men were gone.
Oh. The table had been wiped clean. Can you go up a little bit?
Oh, can't see it?
No. Okay, thank you. The table had been... I can't see it if it's not there.
Can't you see that?
Think I memorized it?
Did you see that?
The table had been wiped clean except for my bowl of soup. It's tomato, by the way. Perplexed, I sat down and swallowed a tablespoonful
Did
of
it have
the
any
soup.
crackers in it or anything?
Oh no, and then I knew something was wrong. Very wrong.
Oh no.
I tasted a gritty substance. He'd been roofied. I
Whoa,
tasted
this
a
is the
gritty
worst
substance
roofie ever.
that burned like fire all the way down into my stomach.
This is not a good roofie at all.
I made a quick grab for a glass of water on a nearby counter.
Oh no. I immediately located my interpreter, Mr. Anthony Lowe, and together we rushed back to the hotel. By this time, blood was trickling out of my mouth and down the front of my shirt. He knew I was growing sicker and weaker with each passing moment.
Upon reaching my room, he quickly administered a dose of powder, which he stirred into a glass of water and which he had mixed before leaving the university where he was studying. As a medical student, he had access to medical supplies. Okay, that's weird.
It sounds like kind of creepy, like he knew. Like, okay, first of all,
He had the antidote ready.
the guy that called him, how did he know to specifically call at that time, to specifically have those guys put that stuff in his soup?
I mean, to call and say, what time are you getting here?
Yeah. Oh, I need you to stand. I need to see what your shirt says before we finish.
It says, not friendly, do not touch.
So true. Space. Debbie needs her space.
That's right.
He did not tell me the contents of the vial. Oh, did I already? Oh, no.
Yeah, you're right.
He did not tell me the contents of the vial because he did not know.
Did not know.
He claimed he was instructed to mix his substance and bring it with him to mines. I swallowed the contents of the glass and fell into a deep sleep. Yet as I was keenly aware that I was not alone in this experience.
You got roofied. Upon awakening, the pain and discomfort had vanished. I reached for a glass of water which was on the nightstand and slowly sipped some. I can't talk anymore. It felt good and cool all the way down into my stomach. Within a matter of moments, the telephone rang. It was Val Thor calling from Switzerland. His words sounded very mellow, yet stern.
Oh, he said, Frank.
Frank.
How many times have I cautioned you to be careful with whom you meet? He continued. He sounds very disappointed.
He's so disappointed.
There are many, many lessons to be learned, and oftentimes they are painful. Yeah, this was pretty painful because I had blood coming out of my mouth. However, I am certain that you gain from this experience. Please exercise extreme care. So then this other guy knows to have the exact thing that's going to fix it.
Right. But he doesn't know what it is.
So was it just to teach him a lesson, or what's the deal? I don't know.
Val stated that there were in fact men in black, not just in dress, but in motive and in heart. Oh, that's deep. He said he would elaborate later when we could meet in person in the United States. He also added that several of his people would be watching us for the duration of our European trip. Well, this doesn't sound good.
Forces of darkness following a cleansing of my system.
You know there was some pooping.
I felt like... Don't make us talk about your bee stick. I felt like a newborn babe. Conversations that I had enjoyed with Val in the past were streaming into my thinking. Oh, they did some streaming. He made mention at one time that not all space beings were of God. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh no.
That they were of some motivated by the forces of darkness, and that additional information would be given to me at a later time. That's one of the things that I'm reading Luis Elizondo's book. And he said that they did this thing with remote viewing. It was called the Project Stargate, where they can, like, one person can envision and see, like, even inside a file cabinet, see other things. And he was warned by a superior that this was the work of the devil and that they shouldn't be doing it. So they discontinued Stargate based on this high-ranking official's
It's the devil.
opinion that this was, the work of evil, the work of the devil. Kind of interesting.
I was then to learn the meaning of those words, that in the beginning there was war in the heavenlies. Lucifer and his crew had been cast down into earth. The only power they lost was that of being in the presence of the divine creator. And Lucifer was still permitted to travel through a small corridor into the presence of God, where to this day he attempts to accuse the saints.
Wow.
Yeah.
Regarding these angels, he told me that it is important for all men and women who are children of true light to learn the art of spiritual as well as mental self-defense.
When I returned to the convention hall, all was ready for my presentation. The audience response was warm and friendly as they listened with interest, desirous to learn the truth about space science and true religion.
We're not mocking religion. We're kind of just mocking the story that refers to the religion, right? We don't want to go to hell. The following day, inquiry was made, and we were not amazed to learn that the Italian magazine had no knowledge of the two who claimed to represent them at the convention.
No way.
I could have told you that. Many years ago, I gave my life over to Jesus Christ, and I knew that in years to come, many revelations would be given me for the purpose of showing the way to others.
That was the name of the Bible we used in Catholic school.
What was it called?
The Way. Instead of just a Bible, we were given this book called The Way, and it was just always cracking me up. Open your way.
Open your way.
Open your way to.
It wasn't called the Bible?
It
was it the same?
The Bible in a textbook. It was a textbook for Catholic schools called The Way. And so there would be other, commentary and stuff in there. But in the same Bible passages, everything was still exactly, the John and Matthew and Luke. And
Oh, they did it like a textbook.
But it was just called The Way, and it would just be
That's
open your way. However, the way would not be easy. But then again, it would be fruitful because of the fact that there are many blessings in this, blessings for those who dare to walk out of step from the rest of the crowd as one's ears become attuned to the beat of the distant drummer. Another experience, another warning, another time to prove that God is with us and that there is help available to those who dare to believe. However, the best was still to come.
The best definitely was still to come. June 5th, 1968 will go down in history as a day when many were born. Successful business deals were signed and sealed. Some may even have lost their shirts on a deal gone sour. It will be remembered as the date of a beautiful wedding, a testimonial dinner, a divorce, an accident, perhaps even a black spot for the family, the loss of a loved one, a father, a brother, a mother, a sister, son or daughter, or a government official, namely the death of Robert Kennedy. It's kind of, I don't want to say weird, it's interesting. You just kind of slide this in. I don't know. It was,
Because
as I was setting this up.
most people, reference the president.
JFK, I mean, usually it's,
That's
they don't
usually,
jump right to Robert.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I didn't even know who died on that day now. A case of lack of security, a lack of caution, a disregard of a solemn warning. I cannot give a detailed account of what actually took place that fateful day at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. But suffice it to say, the authorities who were in charge of the investigation know more than what was admitted to the press. Reports have surfaced in recent years regarding the removal of certain pieces of door and frame in the immediate area. crucial pieces of evidence have come up missing.
But let us go back to that morning. A phone call, an airplane flight to San Diego, California. I was contacted by Val, who instructed me to meet him at the San Diego airport. He ushered me to the parking lot where we got into his car and drove toward the Mexico border. Little did I realize that this particular chip was to be one of my many that would increase my understanding of this one called Val Thor and his mission to this planet. Thus concluding episode 2. We'll leave you with that thought.
So we're not getting into Mexico today?
Well, yeah, they're going to go to Tijuana, probably just going to throw down some tequila.
It's a good plan.
You know, I mean, you know.
He's already had tainted tomato soup. What could go wrong?
Okay, thanks for listening to the Alien Pro Podcast. Welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienpropodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net. Twitter and Instagram at alienpropod. YouTube, and preferably Rumble, well, they won't ban us for talking about COVID. Thanks, Deb, for that second episode of Stranger at the Pentagon by Frank Stranges. And it's been good, and we'll see you on episode 3.
Thank you.